Hey, it's so bringing you the World of Warcraft. It's Friday, February 24th, 2017, and let's recap. I tried to bridge some understanding between the casual and the hardcore kinds of players in the World of Warcraft. I think I only succeeded in trying to mislabel either camp and just pissed people off though. Hey, but I tried, so take a look. I focused on 7 WoW YouTube channels that were focused on making gold. And I forgot about Bregvids, and it's not my fault. I was asked to look for Bregvids, and it clearly did not work. Bregvids did work, so I'm gonna give you a quick shout now. Take a look at his stuff. He looks like he's really blowing up. He's also a gold making channel. But don't worry, I'm gonna do another YouTube feature video, and I'm gonna make sure that he's included in. Hopefully I'll have a whole bunch more gold making channels to promote again. That said, I want to remind you guys one more time, I want to try to do my best to help the community grow and thrive. So if there are smaller channels that you think need help, send them my way, I'll take a look at them, I'll probably feature them. Finally, I did a reaction on the Q&A that went on just yesterday with Josh Allen and Ian Hezekostas. I'm going to talk about a few specifics on that today, but most of my responses to that Q&A are in that previous video. Oh, and by the way guys, you can catch me streaming on both Twitch and YouTube Gaming. You can catch me right here on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's just me and the guild, we're doing our raids, but hey, you can talk to me, or you can talk to us even, you know, I'll kind of like say what you guys are saying. Just hang out, drop a line, you might see something spectacular happen. Okay, you're not gonna see a lot of spectacular things happen. Alright, now for the news, and first off we have Warcraft Chronicles Volume 2 that's gonna come out in the middle of March. IGN gave us a preview full of snazzy pictures and text that I don't want to read yet because I don't want to spoil myself. If you're a big lore slut like I am though, it's definitely worth picking up. If you haven't picked up Volume 1, it's a really cool read. I'm sure this one's going to be the same thing. Right now, the preview, it looks like it's focused mostly on Draenor, like ancient Draenor, which may or may not interest some folks, but you can bet that there's going to be a lot more information about Azeroth and, well, other stuff that's kind of more focused on the present, since Volume 1 had finished like around the time the first Warcraft came out, or at least a little bit before that. Moving right along, I guess the biggest chunk of news came in the form of the PTR build that just came out the other day, and woo, it's a doozy. Now first things first, regarding this build, at least according to a Blizzard statement, it looks like feature-wise, just about everything is in. So we're talking about the new Broken Shore intro, all the new class artifact, order hall, quest thingamajiggers, the mounts, the dungeon, not so much the raid yet, but they are doing testing on it, so I guess overall I'm finally ready to start compiling all this information to make into a nice, meaty, condensed guide for everyone to digest and enjoy and whatever. I know I've been talking about little snippets of it, and I'm going to keep talking about little snippets of it today, but I'm looking forward to try to do kind of a run-through of everything that's going on. Well, just stay tuned for that, okay? So let's talk a little bit about these crafted legendaries. Since the procs have been updated, there's been a proc that was added for plate, and of course, while it's all subject to change and everything, it looks like we're getting really close to the final iteration, so let's go over them real quick again. So it seems pretty much confirmed that for leatherworking, that is like the mail and leather kinds of legendary crafted armor, the proc is going to be the same. Every time you kill an enemy, you get a little bit faster. Once you get a certain number of stacks, then when you're out of combat, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, and all that. Oh, and yeah, that's my attempt at singing when I'm sober. That's what you get. Now, being able to fly obviously sounds awesome, especially since that doesn't require like the Pathfinder achievement, or at least it doesn't sound like it's gonna require the Pathfinder achievement. I have a feeling though that by the time you do get all the materials to craft these things, that you probably can fly on your own anyway. This is just like a nice little woo, yay kind of thing. I mean, make no mistake, I think it would be kind of cool to see a couple like wisp or owl-like things just kind of zipping around, doing world quest related stuff. And it looks like, at least in my opinion, that's what these are mostly tailored for. It's mostly for outdoor content. I doubt that you'll be like flying around inside the tomb of Sargeras or inside the Nighthold, or you know, nothing like that. By contrast though, the plate and the cloth legendaries, while they don't have quite the big speed increase that the leather and mail ones do, they do at least change your survivability a little bit. So I don't know, I mean, you're looking at them right now. What do you guys think? Is this good? Is this something that you find desirable, or that you would be interested in crafting or putting up on the auction house? Do you give a damn? Personally, I'll make them just to make them. I mean, if it happens to sell for like boatloads of gold, okay, sure, I'll go ahead and sell it. It's not a huge deal for me. I'm sure that for most of us, there are other legendaries that we would find to be more desirable. And speaking of legendary stuff, they're finally allowing the kind of targeting of legendary acquisition. Sort of. A new vendor is in the Broken Shore, and they sell basically random baleful-like token things. You buy these with nether shards, and as far as we know, you only get nether shards by doing Broken Shore-related stuff. Basically, you're going to be following a spaceship shadow around, and you're going to kill a lot of monsters that it poops out. These nether shards are going to let you buy these random tokens, and these random tokens just might turn out to be a legendary. Ooh boy. For those of you with WoW PTSD, you might remember stuff like the catch-up mechanisms in WoD and in Mob, like the Baleful gear and you know, those kinds of tokens where you use them and you might get something fancy out of it. It's pretty much the same thing here, but the exception is you can only buy them. It doesn't look like you can just farm for them, you know, by killing mobs. For those of you with Diablo 3 PTSD, you might remember a vendor named Kadala, that punk ass. I think Kadala's basically like the Nomi of Diablo. Yeah, Kadala sucks. Anyway, gotta shake that PTSD off. Basically, she did the same thing. You buy stuff with these blood shards, and maybe you'll get, you know, good legendary gear or set gear or whatever the hell gear. So it's basically a gamble for gear, and a lot of folks are, you know, just really railing against the system because, again, it's another, oh my god, you're taking stuff from Diablo 3, it's World of Diablo, panic. Of course though, what about like a boss drop? Oh, the boss didn't drop. Oh no, it's a slot machine, but you gotta kill something, and you know, the complaints are real and they're fair, and it's not what players want. You know, I don't know what players really want. I think they just want everything like to be guaranteed and not free, but you know, they just want some sense of destiny. They want to know that, you know, this much effort will equate to this much, to this specific reward, and that's okay. But like at the highest echelons of content, you know, like mythic rating or so, you kill a boss, you're not guaranteed to get that boss drop. You might not see it for weeks or months or ever. There are people I know that still haven't gotten like both the left and the right bindings for making Thunder Fury. Just like Warforged and Titanforge, just like legendaries, these are systems that are on top of already existing systems. It's just more stuff. Part of the drawback about having more stuff equates to, I guess I can best compare this to like early Warlords of Draenor, when you had the early gear that came from Apexis that you could get, you know, it was a guaranteed reward as long as you put in the hard work, but they had to balance that guarantee with the kind of power that you get from it, i.e. it sucked. All the gear from early Apexis gear just sucked balls, and people were unhappy about it. People were like, oh, why does it suck so bad? You know, I can go into LFR and I can get better gear like right away. And again, it all comes back to like all these different layers of systems of rewards. And you know, maybe we shouldn't have so many. Maybe we just shouldn't have so many different kinds of rewards or things to do. I don't know how I got to that thought, but that seems to be kind of the conclusion that some elements of the player base are coming to. Personally, I think that a lot of that sentiment comes from all of those dissatisfactions that came from all the times where they didn't get that legendary, or they didn't get it, you know, that item that they did want. It didn't have to be Titanforge. It does understandably leave an empty feeling. I think that's just the drawback for having so many different activities to do. Otherwise, we go back to a kind of warlord paradigm where we can easily identify, okay, this is the best source of gear. This source of gear just sucks ass. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do this. Now that I got this done, I got nothing to do. Crap. So the banter about that is over. I'll just give my take on the system. I think it's okay because it's just another layer on top of everything else. I don't have a legendary helmet for my protection paladin, and I want it. So if at some point I really want to try and get it, and I don't feel like just farming like dungeons all the time or doing like the same old stuff, sure, I'll sit under a spaceship shadow and kill the crap that gets pooped out of it. It might be fun. It's something different that I can do, and I guess that's kind of the point. Alright, so in this build, Blizzard finally decided what the final artifact trait is going to be, or at least for now, it's final. It's called the Concordance of the Legionfall. It's a freaking 50-point trait, and what this trait does, think of it like a trinket proc. Okay, you know, it pretty much is a trinket proc, where it just procs like your primary stat makes it a little bit stronger, and that's it. It's not a stat stick like the 20-point trait that we're rocking right now. It's not an on-use sort of thing like the old legendary ring from Warlords of Draenor. It's more or less a passive bonus that is somewhat out of our control, kind of like a lot of stuff in Legion. But people are like hella railing on it, even though I kind of gave it a jab right now. I don't think it's that bad. Like the 20-point trait that we have right now, it's not like night and day kinds of performance differences if we were to max it out versus not having it maxed out, but it is noticeable at the higher band of PvE content. I think what Blizzard wanted to do was just to make this long tail system that is artifact knowledge and artifact power, and make the tail even longer by, instead of having 20 points, you got freaking 50. And while that trinket proc, I'm just gonna call it a trinket proc, while this trinket proc is gonna make a difference, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna be a total end all be all, must max it out ASAP. Of course, for some people, of course it is. People are also going on about the artifact power requirement in order to maximize this trait. So far, it's a totally ridiculous number, and I'm not even going to say what it is because it's more than likely going to change between now and the however many weeks or months that it's going to be until 7.2 comes out. But from a high level, Blizzard just wants this final trait to just take a while, whether it's going to be towards like 7.3 or all the way to the end of the expansion. I don't know. I do think that artifact power is a goalpost that is designed to be pushed further back for the sake of more content. But it has been interesting to see that people that never liked the artifact power system, they're just like, it's basically bolstering their hatred for the system. Meanwhile, the people don't give a shit. We still don't give a shit. But going back to the artifact power requirement, I am curious about how long this is going to last. One other part that came in the PTR is that the artifact knowledge levels, they've been adjusted to give us a lot more artifact power. Before the multiplier was kind of low, now it's gotten a lot better. But at the same time, it's only going to take us from artifact knowledge 25 to artifact knowledge 40. Now, I'm going under the assumption that for our mains, artifact knowledge is going to need 5 days to go through each work order, and as low as 3 for alts, how it used to be. That means it's literally going to take us 45 days to get to artifact knowledge level 40, and whatever multiplier that we get from that. It just makes me curious about once again, how long is it going to take for us to get to that final artifact rank. And overall, artifact power, in my opinion, it is like Valor. It just lasts a lot longer. The way that I see artifact power, it's kind of like this unicorn that Blizzard is trying to find. It's like this balance of having a long tail system, as we do know it to be, but it's supposed to be a system that gives that feeling that, hey, by the end of the day, you come out having something, other than gold, of course. You come out having the feeling of being just a little bit stronger than you were before. That's not something that gold can necessarily do. It's more like an indirect thing. Gaining artifact power or otherwise experience for your weapon means that your weapon's going to get stronger, you're going to get stronger, so every day you do something and you use that one token, that takes you one step closer. At the same time, the system is designed to discourage but not outright prevent people from progressing if they really want to farm stuff. The futility of that effort comes from, once again, the higher band of PvE players, PvP players, or just hardcore folks that are like, okay, cool, they have the goal, there's the goal, all the way there, like a bajillion miles in the distance, let's do it. And they'll just go for it. They'll just keep trucking along regardless of everything, regardless of their health or anything. But doesn't mean it's a total failure. I don't know. I have a feeling that in the next expansion we're gonna look back and be like, oh yeah, Legion was a great expansion and blah blah blah, and then kind of remember, oh yeah, but that artifact legendary shit, oh fuck that. It's kind of like how MoP is right now, where people look back to it, and I'm just speaking one opinion, but some people will look back on it and be like, you know what, that was a really good expansion between this talking point and this talking point and this talking point. It was great. but those dailies were shit. So we'll see. And that brings me to the last part that I'll talk about, which is the Q&A with Ian and Josh Allen. And like I said, I commented on all the different points that were made in a previous video, so please take a look at that. But I do want to point something out. Ian, sir, you pissed a lot of people off, man. No joke, dude. And I get it, people are pissed off that, you know, this guy who used to run Death and Taxes, who should understand like the challenges of high-end raiding, comes out to say, hey, it's your guys' fault to set these kinds of unrealistic goals for your players. And as much as anyone can get mad about it, it's true. You can't deny that. We're playing a video game and we could always walk away. We can always play the World of Warcraft on our own terms. The milestones that we hit in WoW as gamers are things that we decide to do. Like, if I wanted to be a world-class raider, I probably could, and so could millions of other people, but not everyone is willing to make the kinds of sacrifices required to do it. And let's not make any mistake, apart from like the skill and aptitude and things like that, there are going to be sacrifices that people make, as in time, in order to get to that level. I do agree, and I've said it all throughout my channel in different ways, that the kinds of paradigms that Legion has pushed, regarding Warforged, Titanforged, regarding legendaries, regarding artifact power, it promotes a culture that challenges a player's self-control. But that draws a line, and on the one side are the people that are like, no, I'm still gonna have my sense of self-control. I'm just gonna play as much as I used to before, screw everything else. On the other side of the people that are like, oh hell yeah, I'm totally unhinged. I can just keep pushing, and they'll do it. And that's what a player is gonna have to decide. It's a line that people just can kind of cross over however they want. That's the beauty of this system of freedom that we have. We can just be as casual as we want and do like the minimum emissary things, just make sure we don't lose out on emissary quests and just do the minimum thing required to get us by. Or we can just totally binge out and just go nuts. We can farm all freaking day and just do nothing but mob souls or whatever the hell instance that we're gonna be running out after 7.2. As a player, and this is just coming from me guys, I am less comfortable with Blizzard deciding things for me. Like, this is as much value you're gonna get out of the week, and no one else is going to do better than you. You just gotta meet this requirement every week forever until you're done. So for me, it's like, go ahead and throw me like all these different activities that I can decide to do or not do. But by the end of the day, I want to make sure that I came out with something. That's artifact power. Okay, so that's covered. But while I disagree, I get and I understand these kinds of dissatisfactions, and I would love for you guys to share them in a comment below. So that's the word, that's the news, guys. Thanks for staying to the end. I know that as usual, I got a little ranty. For the record, this recording is clocking in at 1 hour and 3 minutes. So you won't believe how much blank staring and useless banter that I end up wasting each time I do some of these unscripted pieces. Anyway, as always, like and sub if you're enjoying the content. I plan on doing kind of another channel update. It's gonna be a bit more positive this time, but I'm gonna need your guys' help. So stay tuned for that one next week. There's just a lot of stuff that I want to try to pump out next week because I think I'm really falling behind. I hope you guys have a terrific weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. I'm Soul. Stay breezy, guys. Stay easy, guys.